Hi guys, Yiannis here, 2019 European and National Triathlon Champion in my age group. And in today's video, I'm discussing why it's important to do an FTP test on the bike. Welcome back to the channel guys, and if you're new to the channel, welcome. Please like and subscribe to my channel. On to the video. So today's video is why it's important to do an FTP test. Now firstly, what is an FTP test? So FTP is a functional threshold power for cyclists, triathletes, duathletes, etc. Now, why is it important to measure power? Now, power is obviously very important because if you're hitting high levels of power or watts, then therefore you'll know where you are in your training, and obviously that the better the power you're pushing in your sessions or in your races, you know that you're getting faster and you're stronger, and so it's important for you to know how to improve with this. Now it's very important, like for me it's very important. I started doing it regularly when my coach Mark Shepherd told me that a lot of my sessions would be on the watt bike and we'll work to zones. Now when you do an FTP test, now the one I normally do is a 20-minute test on the watt bike, but there's watches that do it now. My Polar Vantage V2 watch does it. You have sensors on turbos and on bikes, so you can do it in a wide range of different things. So on the bike that you can use. So it's important. Firstly, it's important to do, as I mentioned, that you know where you are in your fitness and where you can train. Now, I started doing this. I do this quite regularly, and I think we do it off season about every month to see where I am. Now, this is important because when you do a test, now I do a 20 minutes test I mentioned before, and basically it is a killer. It's horrible. It's tough. It's like you would go and do a VO2 max test, for example. It's tough because basically you've got to go as fast as you can for 20 minutes, and then it'll take your average power or your average watts, and then with that you then get your zones. Now zones here are different to heart rate zones, and so don't go if you're going off like running heart rate zones. They're different to what your heart rate would be on the bike, because obviously what I find that when I'm on the bike, my heart rate when I'm pushing quite hard is a lot lower than it would be on running, and I think this is to do with the impact when you're on the ground, for example, and the bike's a bit slightly different. So what you've got to do is, so when you've done the test, you get your average watts and you put in, go into the British Cycling website. I think you can do it in most world organisation, like home nation organisations, they have it. But you go to British Cycling website, and it will tell you what your average average watts was, and then what your weight is, and it tell you how many kilowatts what you're pushing for your weight per watt, so for your size, and for your weight. So you do this, you get zones, and you'll get like like zone 1, zone 2, zone 3 zones. So just like they are, and they'll be you'll have the zones will be split into all different categories. So there'll be like recovery, there'll be steady, there'll be tempo, sweet spot, VO2 max, aerobic, etc. So that's why it's important to test, because you get the right zones. Now what I found from my experience is that when I do use the zones, my zone 2 is a lot lower than my zone 2 heart rate than running. But what I said before, it's power, so it's power zones, and it's a good way to train again. And when you know your zones, you're training. So I train a lot of zone 2, so I know I'm not overtraining. And then when I take my hard sessions, I know that I've got to hit them in the highest the last final zones, which are the highest. Now, so that's a bit of a background with it. So what you should do, and what you do with it, then you when you get your data and you get your zones, then you can start your sessions. So if you do long rides, you can do it in power zone 2. So you can do, which for me, I feel I can go forever, and you can probably go on forever if you stick to zone 2. It's just like you would do when you're doing heart rate running, and it's a good way to build up the base, aerobic, and again, you're not overtraining, but you're improving because you're making yourself more efficient. And then if you want intervals, you just look at that, like you can do like a sweet spot session, which is like a 20-minute session. You can just stay on that zone. There's a specific zone for sweet spot. And then of course, when you want to go really hard sets, you can do like the VO2 max zone, and etc. So that's how you can train to zones. Now, it's important to regularly check yourself and regularly test yourself. I know you don't want to hear that. It is quite a hard thing to do. Test yourself as hard as you can, quite constantly with especially VO2. I mean, I don't like a VO2 max, but I feel VO2 max, sorry, a FTP test, but I don't like a VO2 max test as well. They're hard as well. But with the FTP test, they're really tough, but I feel really good afterwards. But it's important that you do regularly test, that you can see where your fitness levels are, where you're improving, and of course, like and how your training's going. So if you test yourself 1 month, and then the following month you test yourself, and your watt average is higher, even better. That means your zones change. So every time your watts, your power average change, your watts change, then you will, of course, your zones would change, and that's how you improve. So you could be at a really low wattage for zone 2 at one point, and then if you keep improving, then in about 3 or 4 months' time, you could be in a lot more. You could see quite a big gain. So I was pulling. So when I first started cycling about 3 years ago, I did a test, and my power output was 188 max. Now I'm nearly 112 nearly watts better off from training this way and being coached as well. So it's important that you do get the right training plan for you. So it just shows you how much you can improve if you do the right training, and of course if you've got the right zone. So for me, it's all about, like, I'm not after pace. I don't want pace. I don't want to try and try in an hour, try and do as quick as I can on an easy on a zone 2 ride. What I want to do is it's time on feet, and I just want to keep ticking along. So guys, I hope you found this useful, and if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact me and leave a question on the comments below, and please like the video. And if you haven't done, please subscribe to the channel. Thanks again for watching, guys.
And the champions of this age group category, Henrietta Parasavic and Yiannis Christodoulou.